Hello my beautiful people of the world, and welcome to my channel. If you are new here and just joining, thank you so much for joining. We talk about all things conspiracies and spooky wookies on this channel, unsolved things, okay? If you are not new here, welcome back. Thank you for joining. As always, I really appreciate you. And today we're going to be talking about something that is kind of going viral right now, and we're going to break it down to see if there's any real truth to the matter or if we can do some debunking. Today we are going to be talking about McDonald's using fake beef because why? There's just simply not enough in the world. So what exactly is this theory? Basically, that McDonald's sells millions of burgers every single day, and we will get into the numbers later, but it seems people are asking, where are these cows coming from? There aren't enough cows in the US, there aren't enough globally, so the meat must be fake or manufactured. Even some people are trying to speculate that the meat being used is that of the human form. Why is that always where our brains go? The second someone's like, oh, it's fake meat, they're like, oh, well, then they must be using human. And here's the other thing. I'm sure we've all seen this viral clip of the McDonald's CEO not wanting to eat his burger. Not wanting to eat his big arch burger. And Mr. CEO, you can say you had it for lunch. We don't believe you. We don't. What was that Squidward bite? What was that Squidward bite? No. And anyways, Mr. CEO, you don't have to pretend the meat is good, okay? Listen, we all know it's McDonald's. We know what we're getting. We're eating McDonald's. It's probably one of the most unhealthy fast food chains. Okay. That doesn't mean I'm not going to continue to eat it, because I do love me a double cheeseburger and a hot fudge sundae with extra fudge. Okay, thank you very much. But anyways, before we dive into the math of it all, I want to first talk about this idea that maybe they're using lab-grown meat. Now, if you're new to this idea of lab-grown meat is not new. In fact, there are already restaurants out there using lab-grown meat, and you may not have known it. Now, it's very few and far in between, but there are two major companies that are mainly known right now that are being used, and that is Upside Foods and Good Meat. And they have been approved to be used in certain restaurants in the United States and a few other select countries. But mind you, it is pretty expensive to produce, and it isn't being mass produced right now. So McDonald's getting their hands on it really isn't all that likely, and there's no evidence that they're actually using it in their burgers, at least not yet. And you're probably thinking, what even is lab-grown meat? How do they make it? Well, I'll tell you. Basically, it's made by taking animal cells, growing them in controlled lab environments, and feeding them nutrients so they multiply into muscle tissue. And I would also just like to point out that this isn't necessarily a cruelty-free process, okay? Because the cells are extracted from living animals, living cows if you're making beef. Because yes, lab-grown meat does not just mean beef, it also means chicken, it also means fish, which I find so odd. I find all of it odd. But to each their own. To each their own. But anyways, the cells are extracted from the animals from biopsies, which can obviously be painful and uncomfortable. And on a whole another topic of health related issues, obviously people have their concerns about, is lab-grown meat even healthy? Does it have other risks, cancer causing risks? And really, there's just not enough evidence yet in place to say if it really does have these risks. So your girl will not be consuming it anytime soon. Okay. But yes, there are some places in the US, in California, some restaurants that are using these lab-grown meats, not just beef, chicken, fish. Other places in the world, including Singapore, which was actually the first place to approve this lab-grown chicken, and other places like the Netherlands and South Africa. And again, this isn't being mass-produced. It's not widely being sold in grocery stores, okay? It's mainly just used in restaurants right now. No restaurants where I live, so I'm not sure if this is being put on the menus. Like, I'm not sure if people are being told about it or the restaurants just using it. I don't know. You tell me. Somebody in California, if you've been to one of those restaurants, do they display it? Because I would hope they would display it. So the truth of the matter is, McDonald's isn't using lab-grown meat. They do claim to be using 100% beef, but let it also be known that the meat they're using is technically trimmings, which, feel about that how you will. Me personally, that just immediately sounds unhealthy. Because if you don't know what trimmings are basically the cuts, the leftover meat from manufacturers, slaughterhouses that are cutting meat into presentable steaks. So basically, when you get the beautiful steak at the butcher shop, at your grocery store, everything that was around it, all the excess that they didn't want to present to you in this beautiful steak, that's trimmings. And a lot of the times, trimmings is a lot of fat, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's all fat, okay? You're still getting meat in there, but basically, you're getting the leftover meat, the meat that they didn't want to present, okay? You're not getting the pretty parts of the meat. So take that how you will. And yes, the same can be said for when you go to the grocery store and you buy ground beef. A lot of that is probably trimmings as well. So realistically, when it comes to buying ground beef in the store, just watch the fat content, okay? That's all it is. Make sure you're getting lean meat, okay? Unless you want the fat stuff, I know people say it's good for burgers and tacos and blah, blah, blah. And again, do with that what you will, to each their own. But now, if we actually break it down and get into the math of it all, which so many people have tried to online, and listen, of course the numbers aren't going to be exact. It's all an average, because it would be pretty hard to get an exact number. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I used ChatGPT for this because my math is just not mathing, okay? My brain does not work the way it used to. I used to be the best in math. I used to ace math. And now that I'm out of school, no, but seriously, I asked ChatGPT to do some math for me, okay? And basically, after doing research and figuring out how many people there are in the world, how many cows there are in the world, how many people are eating McDonald's every day in the world, and doing some math around that, I basically asked, if McDonald's being the only consumption of beef in the world, how many cows would be left over so we could actually see some real numbers if McDonald's alone would have enough beef, if that makes sense. Basically, there's approximately 1.5 billion cattle in the world, yes, billion, and 8 billion humans. So yes, more humans than beef, but you have to think about how much one cow can feed. And one single cow can actually feed up to a family of 4 for an entire year. An entire year. Now, yes, that is assuming they're only eating the beef 3 to 4 times a week, right? But even if they were eating beef every single day, it would still be somewhere around like 9-10 months. That's a long time, y'all. That's a long time for one cow. But adding McDonald's into this, they feed about 69 million customers a day, which in reality is less than 1% of people on Earth. So if you put it that way, it already sounds pretty small. If you want to read the entire breakdown as I'm talking, please do so. But basically, if there's 69 million customers that are being fed a single burger each day, that would mean 69 million burgers, which would roughly average out to needing 13,800 cows per day. And per year, that would be around 5 million cows. So basically 5 million cows would be used per year to feed McDonald's out of the 1.5 billion cows that there are globally, which is roughly 0.33% of how many cows there are in the world. Which means out of the 1.5 billion cows that there are, and only 5 million being used, that means there would still be roughly 1.4 billion cows in the world. Which means plenty of meat, plenty of beef left over to go into grocery stores, Burger King, all these other restaurants. There's still plenty of meat, okay, when you actually get down to it. Now, this being said, yes, we actually are at the lowest point we've ever been for how many cows there are globally. There currently is a shortage, if you will. But all this means is that it's just more expensive for people like McDonald's or grocery stores to be buying this meat, which that rolls into inflation, and that's a whole nother conversation. But here's the thing that you've got to realize is cows are being bred and raised every single day. In fact, 300 million cows are processed globally every single year. So yes, more cows are being produced yearly. It's not just there's a single number and they're going away. If that was the case, if cows weren't being bred, and I think this is something a lot of people need to realize about not only cow breeders, other animal breeders in general, farmers in general who grow veggies and fruits, without them, yes, there would have been a number. We would have surpassed that by now. If there weren't breeders of cows, cows would be extinct, okay? Chickens, I don't know. Probably. There'd probably be a lot more pescatarians out there. We'd probably be living off fish. And same goes to your farmers who are growing potatoes and tomatoes and limes, lemons, apples, all your favorite fruits and veggies. If we didn't have farmers out there producing these things, they'd all be gone. There would be no McDonald's if it wasn't for these cow breeders. But basically, to sum up this video, is McDonald's using fake beef? No. At least they say they aren't. Because honestly, they would have no reason to. Because yes, there are plenty of cows for them to keep using real beef. But you know, I guess they wouldn't have to worry if one day the breeders go away, people stop breeding cows. I guess they'll just use lab grown then, because apparently that's the next best thing. But anyways, let me know what you think. Do you think they're using fake meat? Do you think they're using not real beef and they're lying to us? Do you think it's lab grown? Do you think that's why Mr. CEO didn't want him to eat his meat? Okay. That sounded wrong. You get what I'm saying. But let me know what you think, and let me know in the comments below if you have or would like to try lab-grown meat. My answer is no. I would probably just go vegan or vegetarian before I tried lab-grown meat. I gotta be completely honest with you. There's just not enough research to know about the health risk, and I don't feel like being a guinea pig. But alright you guys, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, learned a little something. But yes, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free. It helps me out a lot. I appreciate you guys. I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.